Chunt! So I finally thought I'd catch one of the last sessions playing of the new Ghostbusters movie in my town recently. I've seen and heard all the negative comments and reviews even since I originally never had any intention of going to see the film. Eventually curiosity got the better of me and I bought a ticket. I'll say this right now, if you like this movie, that's fantastic. I'm happy for you and this video is not here for me to convince you otherwise. Nor is it to step on your enjoyment or prevent you from feeling good about the film. This is purely my honest thoughts and feelings of my experience watching this movie. With that out of the way, let's do this. I felt from the onset this movie was completely miscast. I enjoyed Paul Feig's Bridesmaids for the most part and felt that style lends well to a more mature audience. However, this movie falls into what has become the typical modern day comedy, full of unfunny improvised dialogue, loose scenes and story beats. Add in some female-centric jokes that aren't far from periods or queefs, sprinkle some slapstick kids movie tropes and somehow brand it with the Ghostbusters iconography. There you have 2016's Ghostbusters in a nutshell. This movie should have been handled by a completely different team altogether. None of this fits. I was about 20 minutes in and I was more or less ready to walk out. I've never walked out of a movie before. I didn't laugh once. Besides Leslie Jones, the actors didn't really make this believable at all. There was no magic between the cast, which was a big part of what makes the original movie such a classic. The dialogue in that movie hits you after the fact with its wit. This reboot tries so hard to be funny to the point it's simply embarrassing. Maybe that's just a sign of the times, or what strikes people these days to appeal to the lowest common denominator. I don't have the answer for that. Comedy is hard to get right, but they really don't seem to be trying anymore. Sometimes relying on improv works wonders, but most of the time it comes off as a lazy and cringe-worthy affair. Like that one person you know that tries to be funny and no one laughs, so they repeat themselves to make sure if people didn't get it the first time. Putting all of this aside, I was never a die-hard Ghostbusters fan. However, I can appreciate what it was and still is for people. This movie suffers under its own legacy. It tries so hard to make you remember that, hey, this is Ghostbusters, remember this, you like this, remember? Then trying to make something of its own. Nostalgia is powerful, granted, yet I don't need Easter eggs thrown at me every 10 minutes as a reminder of where this property has come from. Those who have never seen Ghostbusters before wouldn't understand those moments anyway. The actual ghostbusting elements aren't much to call home about either. There are some cool moments towards the end of the film during the climax that I generally felt were neat, yet given context of the rest of the movie was completely out of place. The original movie executed the ghostbusting very much like it was a horror. The ghosts and demons look legitimately creepy and scary. Fast forward to 2016, and we're basically watching a live-action Saturday morning cartoon version. Everything looks comical, as if they took inspiration from the live-action Scooby-Doo movies for reference. My only real takeaway is that Chris Hemsworth made an easy paycheck. It's almost as if he just turned up, mucked around, took the piss out of himself and went home. Easy money. Meanwhile, most scenes he's in, the girls are objectifying him as a sexual object just to keep him around to look at, even though his character is a complete dumbass. But we don't hear about that, do we? Where are you on that, equality feminists? I don't wish to spoil much of the thin plot and key moments of the film. If you want to see this movie, you still have time. Or if you're going to wait for Blu-ray on Netflix, you'll see it then and make up your own opinion. As I said at the start, just because I didn't enjoy the movie doesn't mean it's not enjoyable to someone else. After all, film is subjective and just outlines my thoughts and experience. Should they go ahead with the sequel, more power to them, and hopefully they can improve the script enormously next time and lay off the lackluster improv. What did you think of the film? Have you seen it? Will you even bother?
Oh, yes, I'll go Chunty.